For the International Folk Music Awards. My name is Jennifer Rowe, and my pronouns are she, her. As the Director of Operations at Folk Alliance International, I would like to acknowledge that we are joined today by folks from various locations using technology that is not easily accessible to all. We join you today from Kansas City, Missouri, on the traditional indigenous land of the Osage, Kansa, Kickapoo, and Oceti-Sakowin nations. We honor with gratitude their elders, past, present, and future. We also recognize the importance, complexity, and difficulty of land acknowledgements in the context of online organizing. We invite you to join us in acknowledging our shared responsibility to use this time together well, and for each of us to consider our roles in reconciliation, decolonization, and accompliceship. Hosting today's awards, we are thrilled to welcome the voice of longtime friend of Folk Alliance International, an acclaimed singer-songwriter, a touring legend, and past president of our board of directors, Dan Navarro.
Hello, and welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to be the voice behind the curtain as we celebrate the International Folk Music Awards, recognizing legends and emerging talent alongside unsung heroes and influential community members. Our folk community went through a lot this past year, but we're creative and resilient, and a big part of what we do is to touch others through song, which is especially significant these days. We have lots of folks to honor today, closing with Jackson Browne's remarks as our People's Voice Award recipient. So let's get started, shall we? To set the stage, we'd like to share a song by one of our nominees for Album of the Year. Here is Jake Blount with Goodbye Honey, You Call That Gone? The Elaine Wiseman Lifetime Achievement Awards were named after the co-founder of Folk Alliance International, Elaine Wiseman. They're presented each year to honor the cultural impact of legendary folk music figures in 3 categories, one for a living recipient, one for a posthumous legacy recipient, and one for an organization or recognized academic. Nominations are submitted by the community, and recipients are determined by membership vote. We'll start with this year's recipient in the Organization Academic category, which goes to Putumayo. What began in 1975 as a Latin American handicraft shop in New York City evolved into the Putumayo World Music record label in 1993. Since then, it's become known for its joyful compilations of international music, featuring playful album covers illustrated to connect the traditional to the contemporary. The label is considered a pioneer in developing the non-traditional markets as outlets for music. It's contributed more than $500,000 to nonprofit organizations around the world, and their weekly World Music Hour is syndicated on over 100 stations worldwide. And now some words by Putumayo's founder, Dan Storper.
I'd like to thank the Folk Alliance for this unexpected and much appreciated award. When I began Putumayo World Music in 1993, it was inspired by the response to the international music I was playing in my retail stores. The music provided an escape from the hustle and bustle of the city streets and took people on musical journeys that, as we said, was guaranteed to make you feel good. Along the way, I've met some of the most wonderful and talented artists, and I've been happy to provide a forum and a platform for their greater recognition, awareness, and revenue. I'd especially like to thank Michael Krause, who started the label with me, and Jacob Edgar, who's been our primary music researcher for 23 years. And a special thanks to the exceptional people who've worked with and contributed to Putumayo World Music for the past 27 years.
Our posthumous Lifetime Achievement Award is presented in memory of Celia Cruz this year. Considered one of the 20th century's most popular Latin artists, she rose to fame in the 1950s and was known internationally as the Queen of Salsa. She performed and recorded various Afro-Cuban music styles, including huaracha, rumba, son, and bolero, on a total of 37 studio albums and numerous collaborations. She was the recipient of 14 Grammy nominations, 2 Grammy Awards, 3 Latin Grammy Awards, and the Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award. Here to receive the award on her behalf is Folk Alliance board member Catalina Maria Johnson, a DJ, curator, and journalist with Beat Latino.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to comment on the significance of this recognition for Celia Cruz, perhaps the most beloved Latin artist of the 20th century. I'd also like to note that this is the first time in the 27-year history of this award that a Latina or any artist of Latinx heritage has been selected by the voting membership. Her music was at the highest level of entertainment and as danceable as it gets. Nevertheless, she never lost sight of the Afro diaspora from which her particular brand of soul sprung. For example, her famous exclamation, azúcar, references not only the hard work in the sugarcane fields, but the sweetness of overcoming that through the music. Perhaps because of that, she also became a symbol of resilience for all of us, but resilience with lots of style. The Smithsonian owns one of her dresses, and her shoes alone, well, to analyze them would take the entire conference. So, inimitable, unapologetic, personal style, and resilience. We are also privileged that her award will be cared for by the National Association of Latino Arts and Cultures in San Antonio, Texas. We celebrate our growing connection to the Latinx community. As Celia might exclaim, azúcar. Gracias.
This year's Living category recipient is the legendary songwriter Gordon Lightfoot. An icon of the 1960s and 1970s folk scene, he's maintained an incredible 60-year career as an active recording and touring artist, with 22 albums to his credit. Songs like The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, Canadian Railroad Trilogy, Sundown, and If You Could Read My Mind made an indelible impression on generations. His songs were recorded by the likes of Presley, Dylan, Streisand, Clapton, Peter, Paul and Mary, and countless others. He's a recipient of Canada's highest honor in the performing arts, the Governor-General's Performing Arts Award, has 5 Grammy nominations, and is the winner of a record 16 Juno Awards. Gord shared a few thoughts for us, reflecting on receiving this award.
I started at a very young age by singing myself to sleep at night when my mother would put me to bed, just to begin with. So that would be at age 3 or 4, perhaps, years of age. And from that point on, I always listened to the radio, and I always listened to the music that was being played on the radio. And my parents had records. They had a record player. And this is going back a long time now, I'm talking about. And some have, well, of course, there's always been a social side to all of this, too, you know. Songs about the society, you know, that we live in these days. And back then, too, going all the way back to the Vietnam War, where it became a vehicle of protest. As we knew it then, the concept of protest has changed a lot in the last little while. But back then it was a very legitimate thing, and it was basically peaceful. It was the folk music idiom was a great thing for doing social commentaries. I am deeply honored, and yet in a way I'm almost more surprised because, you know, when I first started, I had never expected to even still be playing at this point. Like, I'm 82 years of age. And when I was back there starting to get my chops in this business back in 1970, when I signed with Warner Brothers Records, I was asking myself, but what the heck am I going to be doing like when I'm 80? And here I am. I'm 80, and I'm still going. And I still have a band. They're all younger than I am, fortunately. I appreciate it a great deal, and with the awards that I've received, I'm really deeply honored. Thank you.
Now to the Clearwater Award, which is presented annually to a festival that prioritizes environmental stewardship and demonstrates public leadership in sustainable event production. The award is named after its first recipient, the Clearwater Festival, which was co-founded by Pete Seeger. This year's recipient is the Woodford Folk Festival, located in Queensland, Australia. The festival not only has a 500-year plan that aims to gift future generations of the festival a clean slate, unencumbered by financial, social, or environmental debt, but it occurs on 500 acres of environmentally responsible parkland. The festival features best practices in environmental management, including waste minimization and use of biodegradable and recyclable packaging, on-site composting of all serving materials and a reusable cup system, annual tree planting and locally sourced sustainable bamboo for construction, a fully sustainable wastewater treatment facility on site, a one less car cycling program, and a scientist in residence program. To receive the award, we have a video from Woodford's head of programming, Chloe Goodyear.
It is a great honour to accept the Clearwater Award on behalf of the Woodford Folk Festival and our beautiful 500-acre property up on Gina country in Queensland, Australia. We have been very fortunate that we have had not only great leadership but also an army of people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and actually get the work done. So to date, Woodfordians have delivered a pretty massive number of projects, and that's our artists, stall holders, volunteers, patrons, board staff and partners. And some of the ones that we're most proud of include the planting of over 110,000 endemic rainforest species to bring Woodfordia back to life, the introduction of 2 endangered species into our purpose-built recreational wetland, our wastewater treatment plant, which has reduced Woodfordia's carbon emissions by 9%, the one less car at Woodfordia scheme, and our on-site composting and reusable bar cups schemes. We know that we have so much to learn, and we really look forward to being able to gather together and start this work again. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Woodfordians, and thank you so much, Folk Alliance International, for this wonderful award. Thank you.
Being separated from each other has been really hard this year. But to share some lighthearted perspective, here is Rose Cousins with The Benefits of Being Alone, which is nominated for Song of the Year.
It's a breakneck Monday morning, and I can take it slow. pour cream into my coffee, fresh from off the stove. I replay my favorite saddest song to remember how it goes, or pick up where I left off with last night's episode. If you're interested, I could tell you more of a benefit of being alone. Each day I work a little bit on plans of my own. I book flights to places I have always wanted to go, listening to records, monophonic stereo. Crawl into bed and check for unread messages on my phone. If you're curious, I could give you a guided tour of the benefits of being alone. If I don't end up with anyone, could be 6 days to find my body gone. But think of all the space I get to roam. Don't you worry about me and all my solo reverie. The only one who's there when I get home. To all the benefits of being alone. Broken conversations as you get the kids ready to go. We'll talk about the girls' weekend we constantly postpone. I envy how you're steady, and you envy how I roll, and how brave I am to sing about it on a microphone. No matter, baby, that's what makes the show. The benefits of being alone. Don't you worry about me and all my solo reverie. I decide where everything will go. Then I return to everything just so. The only one who's there when I get home. To all the benefits, the benefits of being alone.
Cut. That's a wrap. Yeah, let's take a break. Back in 15 to reset.
We now present a series of awards under the banner of the Spirit of Folk, with 5 recipients this year. These awards are presented to honor people who promote and preserve folk music through their creative work, community building, and demonstrated leadership, often behind the scenes and without fanfare. Our first recipient is Magnus Backstrom. Magnus was the founder of the Ethno program, a peer-to-peer learning summer camp for young adult musicians. The Ethno program recently celebrated its 30th anniversary and is presented around the world by Jeunesse Musicale International, which will be hosted by FAI for the first time ever in North America this fall. Magnus is a traditional Swedish folk musician, teacher, and consultant, and during his career he was a festival and concert hall director. He co-founded both a folk music record label and a magazine, and was the artistic director for Womex 98, and served as the director of a national cultural organization in Sweden before retiring in 2018.
Hi, and greetings from Sweden. My name is Magnus Bäckström. I'm a Swedish folk fiddler and a music promoter. I've been working with music my whole life, and it has been a really fantastic journey, full of joy. And one of the real gems in my musical life is Ethno, the international folk and world music camp for young musicians. I started Ethno in Sweden 30 years ago, and now it has spread all over the world. Yeah, unbelievable. And now, Folk Alliance International honors me with the Spirit of Folk Award for my work with ethno and my work with folk music. Great, fantastic. I'm so honored and happy. I'm happy for me and I'm happy for ethno. You know, I feel like I share this award with hundreds and thousands of Ethnonians all over the world. So, Folk Alliance International, thank you so much.
Our second recipient is Matthew Covey, who has devoted his professional career to helping artists build bridges between international communities. Matthew is the co-founder of Tamizdat, a nonprofit with a mission to facilitate international cultural exchange. In 2015, he launched an affiliated law firm, Covey Law, the U.S.'s leading authority and advocate for arts immigration, also providing a pro bono legal assistance hotline for the performing arts. He has presented and chaired sessions on artist mobility issues at countless conferences, and is president of Howard Zinn's Voices of a People's History of the United States.
Hello from upstate New York, from these unceded lands of the Lenape people. Music on a certain level is always about the forces that keep people apart and the powers that bring them together. In my career, I've been lucky to have a chance to bring many people together, to poke little holes in the walls that separate them from one another. But like many of us, I realize that I'm also a gatekeeper, that I play a part in disempowering and disenfranchising. As I better understand this, I am more committed to work for change, and with the Folk Alliance community, I am inspired by a more equitable world we are coming to envision. On behalf of my talented and passionate colleagues at Tamizdat and Covey Law, I'm so honored that the Folk Alliance community has chosen to recognize the small part we play in the phenomenally important work that you all do. Thank you.
The next recipient this year is our dear friend Reggie Harris, a songwriter, storyteller, educator, and lecturer who has been a vibrant part of the international music community for over 40 years, presenting concerts and lectures throughout the U.S., Canada, and Europe. Reggie is a Woodrow Wilson scholar who uses music and spoken word to address issues related to education, social and racial justice, and the environment, in addition to leading workshops for students and adults on the history of music related to the Underground Railroad and the modern civil rights movement.
Well, to say that I'm overwhelmed would be a true understatement, and that doesn't happen often. But greetings to all of you, to my colleagues, to the board of directors, to the executive director, Angus, and to all who voted to honor me with this amazing award. I think back to my childhood in Philadelphia, to the elders in my church and in my community, to my second grade teacher who taught me the songs of Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie and Paul Robeson, to all who have grounded me in the work that I have been charged with, and to all of you who, through friendship and through collaboration, have helped me to address the issues through music that still continue to plague our nation and the world. I would like to say a very grateful thanks. I don't get many awards, but indeed, that's not the point. The point is to get the work done. And so I thank you so much for honoring me. It will indeed inspire me to continue to sing out for freedom and justice and to work hard every day until we are all equal. Thank you again. This is very cool.
Suni Paz is an Argentinian singer-songwriter, educator, and activist who has used music to teach Spanish language curricula and as a tool for social change. Suni is an NEA National Heritage Fellow with a 30-year career focused on social justice and cultural awareness. In addition to 8 recordings with Smithsonian Folkways, she has over 400 songs recorded for children, and she is quoted as saying that for children, music can, quote, encourage pride in their heritage and inspire them to build upon these traditions, end quote.
Yesterday, I received this beautiful award. It was sent to me by Folk Alliance International, and the director, your executive director, Angus Finnan, called me to tell me the spirit of folk award it was given to me. You can imagine how moved I was. I thank you with all my heart, because this is the spirit of the music, the folklore that I use all my life in every concert that I gave for schools, for children, for teachers, for families. And so it's really very moving to me. And I thank you with all my heart. This is a great, great award. Very nice. Thank you.
Finally, we celebrate Lisa Schwartz, who is in her 9th year of service on the board of Folk Alliance International, spent much of that time on the executive committee, and has recently retired from the role of board president. FAI aside, Lisa has volunteered with the Philadelphia Folk Festival since 1974, was president of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society for almost 9 years, and currently serves as the festival director. Her love for this community is not just in these roles, but in the joyous relationships she has established along the way.
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry we can't be together in Kansas City, but through the blessings of technology, at least we can share this moment. I am so completely honored to receive this beautiful Spirit of Folk Award, not the least of which is the incredible company that I now get to keep with all the past and future recipients. When I try to tell people what it's like being a part of Folk Alliance, all I can think to say is a hug. It's like a hug. The best, most welcoming, warmest, energizing, nurturing hug that you will ever receive. It has been one of my greatest joys to both lead and serve this organization. And I guess I have Louis J. Myers to thank for insisting so many years ago that I join the mothership and run for the Folk Alliance board. I'd also like to thank the entire staff of Folk Alliance that dedicate every single day to our community. And of course, to the amazing colleagues that have served with me throughout the years at the Folk Alliance board table. But most, I'd like to thank my friend and colleague, Angus Finnan, who has raised the bar so high that I've had to stand on my tiptoes just to reach. I think it was Mother Teresa that said, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. It is my absolute pleasure to do those small things for you, my folk family, whom I so dearly love. So please keep safe and well until we can be together again. Bye-bye.
Nominated for Artist of the Year, Gina Chavez wrote this song, Ella, shown in this video to honor survivors of domestic violence.
Sus manos están atadas, su voz no puede más, no sabe a dónde ir ni qué hacer. Su cuerpo no para de bailar al ritmo de esta realidad. No sabe a dónde ir ni qué hacer. Le quitaron las ganas de hablar, el silencio tratan de comprar. A la fuerza ellos quieren callar. En contra de eso y más, nunca se rindió. Toda la historia callando una verdad, hemos tenido el poder. Siempre supimos a dónde ir y qué hacer. hasta la iglesia se calla también. Pero no tenemos tiempo que perder. Fueron muchas las que lucharon ayer, por las que están y las que vendrán. No nos rendimos.
The next award is new this year. It's called the Rising Tide Award and will annually celebrate an under 30 new generation artist who, just as the rising tide floats all boats, inspires others by embodying the values and ideals of the folk community through their creative work, community role, and public voice. The inaugural recipient of the Rising Tide Award is Ray Zaragoza. Deemed, quote, one of the most politically relevant artists in her genre, end quote, by Paste magazine, Ray describes her own work as music that, quote, fights for, represents, and celebrates those left too long outside the spotlight, end quote. She is an independent artist whose songs directly address identity, social justice, feminism, the environment, and immigration, and she proudly embraces all aspects of her mixed race identity as a Japanese-American, Mexican, indigenous woman. Folk Alliance is proud to have Ray as an ambassador for a more inclusive vision of the future of folk and looks forward to the torch being passed to a younger generation.
Hi everyone, this is Ray Zaragoza, and I am so deeply grateful to be awarded with the Rising Tide Award today. I am so humbled, and it is such an amazing honor. I would really love to applaud Folk Alliance International for truly paving the way and leading us in this journey of showing the world that folk music means so many different things, and that folk music can be written and played by people of all different walks of life and countries of origin. And, you know, for me, as a brown woman, when I was getting my start in folk music, many people told me that they didn't see many people like me in the folk music genre. And honestly, it hurt my feelings to hear those questions, because I grew up in New York City around the corner from Bleecker Street, where there was so much folk music, and I've always loved folk music so much. So to feel like people like me weren't totally welcome was a really awful feeling. And Folk Alliance has showed me time and time again that that is not the case, and that the folk music genre encompasses so many different things. And the point of folk music is to tell the stories of so many different people and of so many different experiences and of so many different ways of seeing the world. So thank you so much to Folk Alliance. It means so much to be honored for all of my efforts in really writing music with a message and having social justice be a huge part of my work. And so it means the world. And I hope that we all can be together very soon in person, and have an amazing Folk Alliance, everyone.
We've come to the Folk DJ Hall of Fame inductions. These recognitions were established to recognize DJs who have spent more than 20 years in their role and have made an outstanding contribution to the folk music genre, and who have demonstrated and inspired leadership in the broadcast field. Inductees are selected by a peer committee of past inductees. Our first inductee is Manolo Fernandez, who's based in Spain and has been producing his program Tomo Uno on Radio Nacional de España every weekend since 1973 to highlight the folk roots music of America. He's released 3 compilations of the music of his show, advised and hosted music festivals, been featured and consulted by the music industry at large, and taught at the Instituto de RTV.
Hi everyone. First of all, I want to thank Folk Alliance International and the committee member who have inducted me into the Folk DJ Hall of Fame. It's an honor to be part of it, with prestigious college from the broadcast field. I also want to thank my team for all these years, and in a special way, my lovely family who have always been close to me. In such strange times, it's important to return to roots and tradition. We must return to the song that bring us closer, without walls or borders, because good songs are, as always, three chords and the truth. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and most of all, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Joanne Marr is a veteran radio announcer, producer, and host of Folk Music and Beyond, heard every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. on KALW 91.7 in San Francisco, California. The show is in its 33rd year and features folk, Celtic, and global roots music and interviews. Joanne is a recipient of the prestigious George Polk Award and more recently was the recipient of a fellowship from the Open Society Institute.
Hi everyone, I'm Joanne Marr and I'm so pleased and happy to accept this great honor from Folk Alliance International. It's so awesome to be included in this select and distinguished company of luminary folk DJs, and we've all had an important mission to help promote and preserve folk, traditional, and alternative music that gets little airplay and exposure on mainstream terrestrial and online radio. I started my program, Folk Music and Beyond, over 30 years ago on KALW Public Radio in San Francisco. And that was back in the day when folk music did not get a lot of respect. I remember very few musicians wanted to be associated with folk back then. It was literally the F word, and it was very uncool. Folk music was unfairly stereotyped and narrowly defined, which drove me absolutely crazy. So I made it my personal mission to embrace folk music and challenge those stereotypes and assumptions and let listeners know, hey, folk is not your grandmother's music. It's a lot broader and diverse and complex and far more interesting than a lot of you would assume. Listen to the music with open hearts and open minds. And that's been my guiding principle in producing and hosting my program all these years. I'm so grateful when even just one listener tells me that the music has touched them on some deep emotional level, or that I've helped open up their horizons, helped them discover new music. And that's what's kept me going all these years, connecting with my listeners and serving my audience. And again, thank you for this great honor.
Our final inductee this year is the late Chopper McKinnon, who founded Canadian Spaces on CKCU-FM in Ottawa in 1980. He produced and hosted the program for 33 years, giving airplay and encouragement to countless artists, with a loyal audience base that eventually supported the launch of the Ottawa Folk Festivals. Chopper died in 2013 and is sorely missed.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris White. I'm here with you, Al McKinnon. We are in Ottawa, Canada. We are on the traditional, unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We're very grateful for that, and we're very mindful that it comes with responsibilities. Al, I know you're on side with those sentiments as well.
Absolutely.
As Chopper McKinnon's brother, you must have been very happy to hear the news that Folk Alliance International is placing Chopper McKinnon in the Folk DJ Hall of Fame. Isn't that a wonderful thing?
It is indeed, Chris. He made a significant impact, and as a result, he is getting recognition. The organization has such a wide scope of reaching people, and that's what Chopper was all about, reaching people.
It all springs from Chopper's love of the music and his belief in supporting the people who create the music.
He touched a lot of souls, space cadets everywhere.
We're giving a big thank you to everybody at Folk Alliance International for recognizing Chopper's achievements.
Yes, and I hope he touches their soul as well.
He would say every Saturday morning, hey, Space Cadets, it's time to put the kettle on, make yourself a pot of your favorite hot brown drink, and stick around for Canadian Spaces. That was a tradition.
He always did that.
And he always referred to Canadian Spaces as the best 2 hours of his week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of us feel the same way. The technology has changed from those early days, but as we both know, the power of the music has
Absolutely.
not changed.
And the power we need it now more than ever.
And now to the Best of 2020 awards for Album, Artist, and Song of the Year. The finalists for these awards are compiled annually through a review of over 20 year-end charts, publications, lists, and awards rosters in the US, UK, EU, Canada, and Australia, including the NACC Folk and FAI Folk Charts. Winners are determined by the voting membership of Folk Alliance International. To begin, the 2020 nominees for Album of the Year were Bet on Love by Faris and Jason Romero. Long Time Passing, Kronos Quartet and Friends celebrate Pete Seeger. Old Wow by Sam Lee. Spider Tales by Jake Blount. And the self-titled Wu Fei and Abigail Washburn. And the winner is Long Time Passing, Kronos Quartet and Friends celebrate Pete Seeger.
I'm David Harrington with Kronos Quartet, and John, Sonny, Hank, and I want to thank Folk Alliance International for awarding us Album of the Year for our Long Time Passing collection of music of Pete Seeger. Pete Seeger has inspired us not only as a person, but his music, his activism, everything about his work led us to want to celebrate his 100th year. And Smithsonian Folkways went way out of their way to bring this album into being before the November election. And with the help of our master arranger and composer, Jacob Garchik, we were able to put together this story of the work of Pete Seeger. And it was Sam Amadon and Maria Arnall and McCleat and Nikki Finney and Aoife O'Donovan, Lee Knight and Brian Carpenter, our guest artists, who made this all possible. And we are incredibly thankful to the Fresh Grass Foundation for believing in us and believing in our work, and for the Kronos Performing Arts Association and the production team spearheaded by Rashina Liao, who brought Long Time Passing to all of us. Thank you very much.
Next, the nominees for Artist of the Year were Gina Chavez, Samantha Crane, John McCutcheon, The War and Treaty, William Prince. Before announcing the winner, we need to share that in a January statement, John McCutcheon respectfully withdrew from the ballot. The membership voted, and the winner of the Artist of the Year award is The War and Treaty.
Hey everybody, I'm Michael.
I'm Tanya.
And we are The War and Treaty, and we are so excited to be your Artist of the Year for 2020. Thank you, Folk Alliance.
Thank you, we're so grateful.
Finally, the 2020 nominees for Song of the Year were Gone by Tim Grimm, Look Long by the Indigo Girls, Peace in Our Hearts by Eliza Gilkison, South Gotta Change by Adia Victoria, The Benefits of Being Alone by Rose Cousins. And the member-voted winner is Peace in Our Hearts by Eliza Gilkison.
Hi everybody, I just want to thank you so much for picking my song Peace in Our Hearts for the Song of the Year. I'm so flattered because I think every artist wants to know that what they do is meaningful somehow, and it means a lot to me to be noticed this way. And I want to thank Brad Hunt and the folk DJs all over the country for playing the music. I think a lot of us felt like we were just playing into a void this year. And this whole record of mine was meant to be communal and sung by people everywhere and sung in groups. And so it was so nice that that the folk community got together and it gave us a place to be this year, in such a strange year. So folk music is communal. It's really in my blood. I'm so grateful for our community. It's such a sweet community of people who really care. And that means so much to me. So thank you. This means everything to me. I love you all and hope we'll see you on the other side soon.
Our final award today is the People's Voice Award, which is presented to an artist who unabashedly embraces social and political commentary in their creative work and public careers. The 2021 recipient of this award is six-time Grammy nominee, an inductee into both the Songwriters and the Rock and Roll Halls of Fame, and Gandhi Peace Award recipient Jackson Browne. Despite early commercial acclaim in the 70s with a hit record and the single Somebody's Baby, he co-founded the anti-nuclear organization Muse, Musicians United for Safe Energy, and his music shifted to be more political, remaining focused primarily on social and environmental issues throughout his 50-year career and to this day. Whether singing about the injustice of the American prison complex or the devastating human impact on the oceans, he has consistently worn his heart on his sleeve and used his time on stage to champion change. He has collaborated and performed countless benefits for various causes, and since 2008 has banned single-use plastic bottles on his tours. For the enduring legacy of his activism in art, Folk Alliance is proud to honor Jackson Browne with the People's Voice Award this year.
Thank you. Thanks to the Folk Alliance, I feel a great debt of gratitude to folk music and all of this entire spectrum, the deep range of its subjects and stories and histories that encouraged me to sing about life as I encountered it and try to describe my own life in terms that I would recognize. I didn't start out to write songs on topical subjects, and it was a long time before I did. But I can thank Joan Baez and Bob Dylan and Buffy St. Marie and Bruce Cockburn, John Trudell, Pete Seeger, Chris Christopherson, and all the artists I listened to growing up and growing forward for the impulse to talk about the things that really mattered to me. So I accept this award with gratitude. Thank you for hearing my songs, and thanks for encouraging me. Thanks to the Folk Alliance for all that you do. Thank you.
Here to share a few words on behalf of the organization is the Executive Director of Folk Alliance International, Angus Finnan.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today and for celebrating our community together. This year has been upside down and inside out for all of us, and not something any of us were expecting. We've had to be innovative and adapt, including Folk Alliance. This event, Folk Unlocked, and these awards have eclipsed all of our expectations, and the conversations and connections have been as important and intimate as ever. I'd like to take a moment to thank our funders, sponsors, and donors who've ensured that this event could take place, and who have indeed helped us survive in this year where we will post our first deficit in decades, drawing heavily on our reserve. I'd also like to thank our industry partners and peers who've had faith in us as an organization and have supported us as we elevated the genre and our community. Thank you to the volunteers and our interns working behind the scenes for you this week. And thank you, the artists and industry entrepreneurs who together ensure that our audiences have art. Thank you to our board of directors who govern this organization with passion and care. And my deepest thanks to our 7-member staff, Jennifer Rowe, Alex Mallet, Jared Rivers, Marissa Kolka, Fawn Lies, Michelle Conceição, and Tressa Levasseur. Together, we have built and shared this event because we know how important it is for you to gather as a community. Together, we have built and shared this event because we know how important community is to each of you. This is like a home, we are like a family. And we do well to remember that a home has many rooms, a family has many members, and that there's always room for more at the table. As we come to the end of a very challenging year, it's also important that we all take time to pause and reflect not only on the resilience it took to get through the past year, but also on how we can be kind to ourselves and each other in the year ahead. That self-care is as important for an organization as it is for individuals. We also come towards the anniversary of the murder of George Floyd and the reaction and reflection that that sparked for the world. Let it be a reminder that we have deep and important work to do still, as a society, as an industry, and as a community, even at Folk Alliance. As a community, you know the power of songs. They can be a mirror and they can be medicine. So we'd like to close with a song written by one of our community members, Tom Prasada Rao, in commemoration of the murder of George Floyd, entitled $20 Bill.
Some people die for honor. Some people die for love. Some people die while singing to the heavens above. Some people die believing in the cross on Calvary Hill. Some people die the blink of an eye for a $20 bill. Some people go out in glory, yeah, with the wind at their back. Some get to tell their own story, write their own epitaph. Sometimes you see it coming, sometimes you don't know until you run out of breath with a knee on your neck for a $20 bill. Oh, brother, I never knew you, and now I never will. Oh, but I make this promise to I'll remember still. Let this be our communion. It's time to break the bread. Do this in remembrance, just like the good book said. Sometimes the wine is a sacrament. Sometimes the blood is just spilled. Sometimes the law is the devil's last straw, the future unfulfilled. Like the dream they killed. For a $20 bill. Rest in peace, rest in power.
And that's our show. It's been my sincere pleasure to share this time with you as the voice behind the curtain, and to celebrate all of these incredible community members. We have a closing note from staff, but for my part, stay safe, stay connected, and stay folky, my friends. Hasta que nos vemos en la próxima. Gracias, and adios.
Thank you, Dan, and congratulations to all of today's honorees. These awards will soon be available for public viewing on our YouTube channel if you'd like to share them. It's been an incredible week here at the Folk Unlocked virtual conference, and we're almost done. But first, we invite you to head over to the final reception in Bramble before our epic global music marathon closing party. Finally, Folk Unlocked and this award show were made available at a pay-what-you-can price point, thanks to the generosity of donors. If you would like to support our year-round work and the ability for others in need to attend at low or no cost, we welcome contributions at folk.org/donate. Thank you all, and finally, thanks to all of our conference sponsors, including our premier supporters, Grassy Hill Entertainment and Yamaha.